In this video, we're going to talk about how to get approved for high limit business credit cards at Chase. And yes, I've been approved for well over 100K with Chase alone. So it wasn't always this way. My first business credit card with Chase was actually only a 5K limit. So today we'll go through a couple lessons that I've gone through for myself and also my clients' experiences that we went through as well. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Ches Lee. I'm a business funding consultant who's been funded well over 400K in business funding for my businesses. And I've helped over 100 business owners and entrepreneurs get funded for their businesses or their investments. And everything that I teach is going to be based on real world experiences. Everything that I talk about will be something that we've done for myself or for my clients. So you know that the trust that we have today is going to be all real. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So the ones that we're going to be focusing on for Chase is mainly going to be the Chase Business Inc. Cash and the Business Inc. Unlimited. But I also do have one more gem for you if you do want to increase your limits when you're getting your cards. I'll save that for the end, so stick with me. So if you're new to getting business funding, I recommend watching one of my videos right here. Actually, right here. Oh, no, right here. So I recommend watching that video. So you'll be able to get to know how to get your first business credit cards and get everything in check before you go ahead and apply for business funding in general. And with that being said, if you're unfamiliar with Chase Business credit cards, there are a couple rules and requirements you would have to do just to be able to get approved for these cards. So I recommend not applying with a sole proprietorship. I would recommend applying with your LLC, corporation, or anything that establishes you as a business. Why? Because this will make sure that the banks know that you're actually in business and you're not just a one-man show. So some requirements that you would need to have to get approved for business funding with Chase is you would need over a 700 credit score. You would need less than 30% in personal credit utilization. So we are going to be personally guaranteeing these cards. So we will have to make sure that our personal guarantee, our personal credit actually is very solid, very good. Another remark is going to be no major negatives on your credit history. So that's no charge-offs, no collections, and no bankruptcies as well. You don't want any late payments. And Chase also is very hard on the inquiry side as well. So we don't want to have more than 3 hard inquiries in the last 3 months for any of our bureaus. Chase does pull from Experian mostly on most of the states, but I've seen them pull from Equifax also. So those could be the two bureaus that you may have to watch out for if you do have a lot of hard inquiries there. You could remove them if you got denied before, you could just remove those inquiries. But if not, like we could keep moving forward. So the Chase Business Inc. card, they do give 0% up to 12 months, and you also get 750 cash bonus for spending 7,500, maybe less now in the first 3 months. So you get 750, about 10% back for your spending for the first initial amount. The second card will be the Chase Business Cash. You do get about 5% back on office supplies for that if you do know what you're doing. So you can get a little bit more points on that. But you get about a 75K point bonus or 80K sometimes, maybe even higher depending on when you apply for that as well. So that's a lot of cash back when you are getting the cards. My little hack for you to get a little bit of a higher limit for these would be to also apply for the Business Premier Preferred card. So this is going to be one of the cards that you could transfer rewards points into if you don't have the Chase Sapphire cards, if you're not in their system yet. So if you have that card, you could transfer all the points that you're already gathering up, you could transfer it to that card. You could start doing some travel hacking with there. I personally do that for my strategy, and I've been able to fly first class to Asia and Japan, all those kind of good stuff in this past year, and also stay in hotels for free. If you want to get to know how to do that as well, just comment below, and I'll make another video on that. But here's the hack. So we're gonna apply for the Business Premier card, and we're also going to be able to the special thing about Chase is they're going to be able to transfer your limits from one of your cards into another card. Say if you got if you got the Premier card and they gave you a 20K limit and you only got a 30K limit with one of the ink cards, then you could transfer that limit about 15K from the Premier card to your ink card. And in total, you have another 15K, maybe even 20 if you transfer it all for another 0% for another year. That's how one of the hacks that a lot of people, a lot of my clients are doing to get a higher limit when they're applying for these 0% cards. All right. So what are the rules that Chase have? So one of the rules that Chase has is called the 524 rule. Have you not heard what the 524 rule is? Is you can't be approved for more than five or more personal cards in the last 24 months. If you have, you may be ineligible to apply for any Chase business or any kind of Chase products. But we do have a workaround on that. So Chase does have a couple rules when it comes to applying for their business credit cards. So one of the first rules that I've seen is the 524 rule. So what this means, if you never heard of it, is if you have more than five personal cards that you've gotten approved in the last 24 months, five or more actually, then you might be ineligible to apply for any business or personal cards or products with Chase. And an example of this, of how someone can get denied, is one of mine. His name is John, and he had five personal accounts that he was approved for in the last 24 months. And originally, he was not able to get any personal or business products with Chase, but I gave him my workaround on it, so he was able to get approved for those business credit cards. It's by using a relationship manager, relationship banker, and he was able to work around that 524 rule. If he did not have a relationship banker, then he would not have been able to get another credit product with Chase. So that's the workaround, but that's the also an example of 524 of how it can affect your approvals at Chase. And another thing is business credit cards, they do not count towards 524. So let's say you already have four cards or three cards and you apply for another two business credit cards at Chase, those will not report on your personal credit, so it will not show on your personal credit. So it will not count as your 524. So something to keep in mind of. So what I would do, my strategy for you would be to apply for the business credit cards before the personal ones to avoid hitting the 524 rule. Now let's talk about the tips of getting the highest limit approved with Chase. So number one is going to be having comparable credit to be able to get approved for something that's at comparable levels. So if you have $1,000 limit, Chase is not going to approve you for a 50K limit. So we want to have at least one card with the highest limit, at least 10K, so you'll be able to get at least that 50K limit. So lenders, they often approve limits similar to your highest credit limit card. So a personal story of mine is how I was able to get a 50K card compared to one of my clients. So he was only able to get a 5K approval because one of his highest limits was only about $5,000. So he didn't want to listen and he wanted to still go through with the applications, but in the end he only got a 5K limit. We got fixed up in the end, so he was able to get that 50K limit in the end of the day, but you need to have comparable credit to be able to get these high limit business credit cards. So another tip from me is to request a soft pull credit limit increase before you go ahead and apply for any cards in general. So what you can do is go ahead, call the number on the back of your credit cards, ask them if to do a soft pull credit limit increase before you go ahead and apply for anything. Not only will this strengthen your credit, but it will also increase the credit limit of all of your cards. So this does improve your approval rates and how high of a credit limit you can get approved for. And the importance of this is because, like I said before, when you do have some type of comparable credit, you also do get a higher limit. So Chase is a very relationship-based bank. So I would recommend opening up a business checking account and a personal checking account. If you have prior relationship with them, it would be very great for you because, for example, I had a Chase Sapphire card before I got approved for my cards with no issues. But I had a client, his name was John from Florida. He had over a 780 credit score, FICO score actually. And he got approved for a very low limit. This is because he believed that he was able to just go ahead and go into the bank without going to Chase actually, and without applying for any kind of business checking or personal checking, without building a relationship with them, he believed he will get a high limit because his credit is so high at 780. So, despite that fact, he only got only a 5K limit. So he was not able to get a very high limit because he did not build relationships prior to applying with the banks. So we got him all fixed up now. He has some relationships with the banks now with Chase. So he was able to get that 50K limit and all is good for him. So I recommend do opening up a business checking account. It does improve your odds of getting approved. So what else do you have to do other than opening up the business checking account? It can't be that easy to build a relationship with the banks or Chase. So what I recommend is when you do open up your business checking account is to deposit some money in there, like at least $5,000 in there. There's bank rating system that the banks go by. They rank you by how much money that you deposit into the banks. So something to do for sure. And you can increase your odds of getting approved and get a way higher limit by doing this. And my last example I have for you is going to be with one of my clients, Nathan from Florida. And he did not have any funds to deposit into his business checking account. We were able to get him an Amex business credit card. From there, we were able to liquidate that card and deposit the cash into his Chase business checking account. And after seasoning it for a little while, he was able to get a 35K credit card limit, the highest that he's ever gotten with the bonuses as well. Key takeaways that I have for you today is not only establish a relationship with Chase and deposit some money in there to, make sure the established relationship is strong, but to also apply with a relationship banker. That will increase your odds of getting approved and get a way higher limit than a lot of people might get. Something that you do want to keep in mind of also is going to be the Chase 524 rule. Do not have more than 5 personal accounts in the last 24 months before applying. If you do want to walk around this, having a relationship banker does help with you. That you can just go through it all without having to worry about it. So we just discussed all of that. Hopefully, it helps you get approved for a high limit business credit card at Chase. If you do need help with this, I have one-on-one help for getting over 100K in business funding in the description below or in the pinned comments as well. And this is going to be CashflowChes. I'll see you guys in the next one.